No, I'm kidding.
She can't hear us.
Can you hear us now? Okay, great.
Yeah, hold on. Let me make sure my phone is off.
Oh.
All right.
All right. We're going to count down. Ready?
Okay.
All right. 5.
Good evening, everyone. This is the September 11th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission for the City of Brisbane. It is 6:33. Can I get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. We'll start with Chairperson Sims,
Here.
Commissioner Comerford,
Present.
Commissioner Davis,
Present.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Present.
Commissioner Kern,
Present.
Commissioner Ocampo,
Present.
Commissioner Sewell.
Present.
Thank you.
All right. The first item we have is the adoption of the agenda. Do any commissioners have any edits or changes to the agenda?
I second.
Make sure your mic's on. Yep.
All right, so Commissioner Comerford moved to accept. Commissioner Davis seconded.
Great. And then we'll just run through our roll call again. Chairperson Sims,
Aye.
Commissioner Comerford,
Aye.
Commissioner Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Aye.
Commissioner Kern,
Aye.
Commissioner Ocampo,
Aye.
Commissioner Sewell.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, next we have approval of the July 10th, 2024 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Excellent.
That was Frank and Lisa.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Greenlee.
Right. All right. Let's do another round of our roll call. Chairperson Sims,
Aye.
Commissioner Comerford,
Aye.
Commissioner Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Aye.
Commissioner Kern,
Aye.
Commissioner Ocampo,
Aye.
Commissioner Sewell.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, next we have citizen communications. Do we have any?
We do. I believe we have the Sullys here who'd like to have a word. So come on up.
Good evening. I don't know the proper way to address you, but Commission, and my name's Joe Sully. I was born and raised here. I've been walking the streets of Brisbane since 1954. I come to ask tonight, draw your attention to a piece of Brisbane public property, I believe. It's a pathway that I've been using for over 70 years. It runs from 500 Humboldt to what used to be the private road Lenning Way. In the last couple of years, it's kind of seems like in disrepair. The weeds are growing up, and I noticed that in the last couple of years, a fence was built. I used to be a surveyor. I'm familiar with the neighborhood, and I own properties across the street from it. Anyway, what I'd like to do is get you to look at developing that into more of a public walkway, because even when I was younger, my chosen path for my paper route would be to come up Sierra Point. Of course, the pathway, the memorial pathway, or however we designate it, wasn't there, but that's a lot of stairs. That's a lot of stairs, and then you get up there and you're still not at the top of Humboldt. So as a younger person that traveled that daily, actually delivering papers, and now as an old person that collects rent from several properties at the top and bottom, the path of least resistance is to walk the extra block up Sierra Point to 200 block. I was raised at 253. Do the little turn there, go up Lenning Way, and then you're at that pathway and come up from there. At least now you're at the top of the hill and you can. Anyway, well, you know, Sully Real Estate would be happy to donate a few $1,000s to help with that development, to get it cleaned up. But, you know, I don't know what I can ask you for. Public Works to look at it, at least clear the weeds and make it passable again. Last couple of years with it being so rainy, it's kind of heck to really negotiate that, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. So truthfully, I've been wanting to come here for 20 years and say, gee, guys, could we do something about that? And I'd be happy to stay on and even help financially. So appreciate you're hearing me tonight and hope we can move forward with at least getting it passable. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just a quick question. We'll certainly take that under advisement. Noreen, do we know, is that city property?
I'll have to confirm.
Okay.
But Joe probably knows better than I do, so I trust.
Public parking area there, and
Yeah.
I don't know why I assume that. Like I said, I used to survey for Jim Carroll, who had his own survey company as well as being our city engineer, and we surveyed several projects in that neighborhood. So that's a
Yeah.
real quick, easy survey with the monuments that are in place. But I do believe that the land lots, I didn't really come and look at the property lines or anything, but where the public parking lot is, I believe we own that whole swath of land there down. And if that's the case, then just like it opened up for a little better public use, because I plan to live forever and then you can walk that down.
Thank you
Hey,
so
Joe,
much.
thanks so much for bringing that. That's the second time you brought that up to me. We talked about this in the park recently as well.
We're gonna take a look at the area anyway. I hope you did.
I did. I took my dog up there and I could not find it. So I will work with Noreen and I will take another look at it.
Yeah, and we'll touch base and confirm with the Public Works Department.
Yeah.
We're right across from San Mateo Lane, 500 Humboldt. It's right across the street, the public parking area. And you can see the new fence, and what's left of the pathway goes down to there to the pavement at the top of Lennon Way.
Okay.
I'll put on better glasses and take another look.
And I see Commissioner
Yeah.
Greenlee has a comment.
Yes, I've also used that pathway, or I used to use it a long time ago. It was a nice little shortcut, but it is overgrown and I haven't used it in years. I kind of felt like it was imposing on the neighbors' backyards, but I'm not sure. Joe would probably know better than me, but it was a great little pathway. It's not anymore.
So we can provide a follow-up at our next meeting if we want to place that on the agenda for additional discussion.
That sounds
Thank you,
good.
Joe.
And just, Joe, while we have you here, I just want to, just on a side note, say thank you for all you do for our seniors in town. We really appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Meal, October 14th.
You heard it here, October 14th.
Well, and of course, my sandwiches will be on the park on the 5th, so.
Thank you.
There again, I don't know how it's gonna advertise it. I guess I'm the only senior here, but I got the Lions Club to agree to $5 off. $18 is a little pricey, not everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, so $5 off for seniors. I don't know how it's gonna
Thank you. And do we have any other citizen communications? All right.
Yeah.
Hi.
Come on up.
There are more seniors in the room. My apologies. Good evening, Commissioners. My apologies for arriving late. I was trying to add something to this proposal, and it just wasn't working. But if I may, I'd like to make a proposal for classes. I'm going to read most of this. I do have copies for you to look at later and for the record. You know, rec departments understandably seem to gravitate towards sports and athletic activities, but not everybody can do that. And a lot of people need mental stimulation. Chess is readily available for after school. So I would like to instruct people in Japan's national game of Go. I meant to bring the book and show you. It's truly a fascinating game, the rules of which can be learned in just minutes, but it's a challenge. It's a two-player game on a wooden board. It uses black and white stones played on the intersection of a grid. The professional board is 19 by 19 lines, and beginners will start on a 9 by 9 grid, and then move up to a 13 by 13, and eventually do the 19 by 19 full board. This could be a single class, but I think it should be at least 2 for reinforcement, some tips and tricks, and just plain fun. This could develop into a Go Club with ongoing sessions as newcomers entering can pick up the rules in just minutes and fit right in. Next, I propose a family experience introducing 3D modeling for 3D printing. I want a parent involved initially because, 1, they will become familiar with their child's education and this pursuit. 2, because although much of the software is free, some require parental permission. 3rd, they may have the bug too. And 4th, they will be paying the bills if they choose to buy. With libraries coming on to makespaces, now is an excellent time to grasp these concepts and develop design thinking. 3D printing is used in all industries. I do have a basic outline. I'll just read the headlines. Virtual sculpting, slicing up your model into little pieces, what goes in, what comes out, and how to select or buy your first printer. And I've included a couple paragraphs of my background so you can see where I'm coming from with this. And the last page is a grid spreadsheet, which I was trying to add to at the last minute. This was proposed as a week-long day camp. And so this is the outline for each day, all day long. I also had proposed it as individual classes in evening for adults that can't make it to daytime sessions. So I'll leave these with you or
We can distribute copies to the commissioners.
now.
Well, Jovi can take them now, and then we'll distribute electronic copies.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, sir, I did not get your name.
Tom Hines.
Tom
Like the
Hines.
ketchup.
Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate your bringing this to
For
us.
sure. Thank you for listening.
Can I just thank Tom for inspiring my son? You talked to my son the other day, and we are like in process of getting the printer going. So thank you. It's costing me money, but that's cool.
And Commissioner Greenlee, you have a comment. Oh,
And here we go. Yeah, I believe that the new library has a 3D printer and was offering classes. I don't know how big the printer is or if it could be used in this capacity for a class, but definitely check it out and see if maybe coordinating with the library to do this class might be a good place in that new makerspace. That's just a suggestion.
That's a good suggestion. However, I walked into our old little library about 6 years ago, and I saw an Ultimaker 3D printer sitting there. I knew what it was, and I searched around for a first librarian, grabbed the first one I saw, and said, "Is that available for the public use?" When the answer was affirmative, I took over. I sat there all day long. I picked every librarian's brain. I was on the phone to Ultimaker customer support. I've used the printers in all the libraries in South City. In fact, well, the thing is, when I started working there, I was printing, and the kids would come in after school, and they would see me printing. They'd come over and watch, want to know what's going on. And when they started booking time on the printer, I started getting squeezed out. So eventually they narrowed their hours to 2 hours, their time to 2 hour slots. And a lot of my jobs take 6, 8, 12 hours to print. So it was just time to buy my own. And I just got so involved that last year at the Evening of Art Sharing, I presented my 3D art, my 3D printing art. So, you know, the kids would download Pokemon characters from the internet, and that's fine. That's a great start. But I want them to design their own characters, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, Tom.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right. Do we have any more citizen communications this evening? Thank you.
I believe that's all for tonight.
All right, then the next item is presentations. We have a youth and adult sports program presentation.
All right, so we're going to invite Jeff to the podium to hold that down this evening.
How are you guys doing? My name is Jeff Franco. I'm recreation coordinator, now in charge of youth and adult sports, as well as seniors. The senior presentation will be in a couple months. So we have quite a few offerings for sports for the youth and adults, and I'm going to go through them pretty much in chronological order. I've been in this position almost a year now, so the sports that we're doing right now that we're about to start are the only two that I haven't overseen. So I'll talk to them and then get into the ones that I have overseen as well. So, Jovi. So right now for the fall, we have middle school volleyball. Last year was the first year in a while that it came back. We had, looks like there's at least 12 girls up there that were on the team last year. This year, we now have two teams. There's a 6th grade team and a combined 7th, 8th grade team. The 6th grade team actually started practice today, and then the older team will start practice next week with their games starting in late September. So they will play the league we play with for most of our youth sports. They'll play Hillsborough, Burlingame, Millbrae, San Bruno, and South City. So we'll travel around with them to their games. Our home gym is South City. Okay, so the next. Our second fall sport is cross country. These are pictures from last year where we had about 20 middle schoolers sign up. This year, I already know the numbers are at least 30, so it's grown. And also, in the past, meets have been in Millbrae and San Bruno. This year, we just finalized the schedule. 2 of the cross-country meets will be here in Brisbane. I mapped out the course yesterday, I believe, yesterday or the day before. It'll be on Quarry Road Trail and then part of the Crocker Park Trail. So the race will be 1.5 miles, so it'll go 0.75 miles one way, and then it'll come back, turn around and come back. So we're excited we'll host the first meet and then the finals for cross country. The first one is Thursday, September 24th, I believe. Okay, so then the last, basketball is end of fall, early winter. We have elementary basketball as well as middle school basketball. For elementary basketball, last year we had 2 2nd, 3rd grade teams as well as 2 4th, 5th grade teams. And that was basically my introduction to youth sports. So going around to gyms in all the cities that I previously mentioned and watching the 2nd, 3rd grade and 4th, 5th, they have so much energy playing. And I think all of them wanted to be Steph Curry because they would all stand around there was a few for sure that stood around at the 3-point line and just launched the ball. And a good amount of the time they made it. But it was just fun. They were definitely understanding the game, had some pretty good defense as well. So elementary basketball is it really prepares them for middle school basketball. Okay. And then this past year, we had 2 6th grade basketball teams, boys and a girls. This was the first time we've had a girls team since Ricardo and I had started here about 8.5 years ago. So we know we'll have at least a second girls team this year. We're hoping to have 2. That last year it was 6th grade, so we're hoping they'll be 7th grade. So we're hoping to have a 6th grade team for this year as well. And then we had a 6th grade boys team and then a 7th grade. So we're hoping this year to have 1 for each grade level to build on our numbers from last year. For 6th and 7th grade, they just compete in the league. 8th grade is when they have the chance of making playoffs. And I know there's even talks about potentially doing all-star teams for, like with other cities, for youth basketball. So that's something to potentially look forward to for the kids. Youth baseball this past year, we had 3 teams. We compete in the South San Francisco Youth Little League. We had 3 teams. This is our T-ball team, the Brisbane Bears. They played almost every Sunday morning. It was fun to watch the games. I remember one game, I don't forget what team we were playing, but we hit the ball, and then instead of running to first, our kid ran to second base where the ball was and grabbed the ball before the other team could grab it. So he then was told to go to first, but he hit offense and defense in the same play. I'm pretty sure it was the first game, so they probably coached him up a little bit next time, but it's very cute to watch.
Love the initiative.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then next slide. And then we also had 2 teams for the 10 and under division, the Brisbane Expos and the Brisbane Churros. Churros is a minor league affiliate team. So for the league, you can pick any team you want. And then the Expos are a former baseball team. They designed their own jerseys and hats based on those teams. And yeah, we are excited to have those 2 teams. We're hoping to have 2, maybe a 3rd age group team, and for T-ball again next year to keep it growing. Joby? Then, baseball started our spring sports, and then another spring sport is middle school track. Track meets are Thursdays. I believe it was in April and May, and all the meets this past year were in Millbrae. They practice at Lippman. We had probably maybe 25 to 30 kids last year, and with the numbers of cross country growing this year, I can only imagine the numbers of track will grow as well. They run like the 100-yard dash, the 200, the 400, 800, a mile, and also do long jump and high jump. At the meets, so all the supervisors got together to pick the different events they wanted to be in charge of. Nobody really wanted to be in charge of high jump, so I was like, I did track in high school, but never high jump. But I was like, I'll give it a go. Luckily, there was a couple high school track kids that were around the track that helped out that first time. And then I was able to take over for the next couple meets. But most of the kids never had exposure to high jump. So it was cool to see them learn how to do it. And then there was about 3 meets they did it at, and then to get better at their high jumps. So I'm hoping kids from last year, if we offer high jump again, will go at it again, and they'll have at least a few days of experience for high jump. So that wraps up youth sports for right now. We also offer adult sports here in Brisbane. Our 2 prominent ones are adult softball, which is happening right now as well. Pickleball is happening as well right now too, both at Mission Blue. So our pickleball, we have dedicated nights on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Typically, dedicated times we say from about 6 to 10, but any given time, like driving by Mission Blue, especially on the weekends, we always see multiple people playing pickleball. We have 2 permanent courts there now, one on each side of the tennis court, and then the nets are up there as well, so people can they just have to bring their own supplies, but they're playing, I feel, as often as they can when tennis players aren't playing. So it's really taken off. We had attempted this past spring to do a pickleball league. There was interest, but not a lot of interest, but we were able to start a pickleball club. So that's mainly what Tuesday nights was, just to get people together, the same people playing over and over again. So that's grown. So we're hoping to have a league like in this upcoming spring with just the interest in more people in town or playing pickleball. And the hope for the pickleball club is to also get an instructor to come and give them some lessons or tips, as well as we provided pickleballs for them and then dedicated playing time on the extra day on Tuesdays. Joey?
Nice transition on that one.
Thank you. For adult softball, it's in the summer and fall, and our summer league had 8 teams, and then right now, currently, we have 7 teams, and they play usually about 10 to 12 weeks in a season. Usually Wednesday nights, 6, 7, and 8, so 3 games a night. So it's getting more competitive. We've had a lot of the same teams year after year after year. Every once in a while, we'll get a new one join, but a lot of the players know each other, so it's getting more and more competitive, and it's fun to be out there. The second picture, the one more of the field, that was last season. Our umpires didn't show up, so myself and the scorekeeper were the umpires for the night. So I don't know if he was safer out that play, but so it was fun to see that side of it as well. There was only one close play, and I think I made the right call. Nobody yelled at me.
You're on record.
Yes. Okay, next slide. So looking to the future, we also have pickleball nets at Lippman. We had a pickleball and swim club there this past summer that filled up. It was a 2 one-week camps. And then I know the middle school has a pickleball club. So moving forward, we hope to introduce pickleball as a rec sport and potentially get permanent lines at Lippman as well. We have the nets there. Other youth sports that other surrounding cities are doing, youth golf, youth badminton. We also, right now, we're getting registration for elementary flag football that it's hit and miss, like if we get enough signups. So right now we're hoping that we get more signups than last year so we can have a team for that as well. But we're always looking and trying out, like wanting to try out and introduce new sports to our community. And that's the presentation. Any questions?
I just have one on the flag football. So if it's a sport that we can't field enough kids, are we able to reach out to other communities that also have like a shortfall and maybe kind of combine teams? Is that typically what we try to do?
Yes, right now, there was also signups for middle school flag football where we got 2 signups, and we are working with South City, and I think one of our signups is going to go join one of their teams. So that's always the plan if we can't get enough, because a lot of the times other cities can't get enough. So we'll try to, if they're close by, either South San Francisco or San Bruno, we'll try to team up with them to be able to field teams.
I see Commissioner Greenlee has her hand up.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was just curious about the track and field, and where do you guys practice? In that, like, a high jump needs special equipment. You need the bar, you need the pad. My son did high jump in middle school, but we practiced somewhere else. And I was just wondering, they're not only practicing at meets, are they?
So currently we practice for track and field at Lippman, so they aren't practicing for long jump and high jump. So those are events that they would only practice at meets. Is that correct, Ricardo?
Yeah. So for those 2 events, they qualify. So they practice, there's 5 meets. So they'll practice those 3 meets, and then the last 2 meets is when they qualify for like a championship or a medal. So
But they never get to practice during the week at all, or?
no,
Unfortunately, no.
the only, I think Millbrae is the only place where they can actually practice, and that's because they're right next to the high school.
Okay, yeah. I know the College of San Mateo has high jump out on their football field that you can usually use if you ask them. Anyways, I just think it's, to compete without practicing is really tough. You know what I mean? That you show up and you really kind of don't know what you're doing. But I understand that this town doesn't have the funds to do a whole high jump, long jump setup. Well, long jump, they probably could, but high jump setup, they probably couldn't. But it's good in middle school for them to get the taste of it, because then maybe when they get to high school, they've got a little edge on starting up in a real high school setting. So anyways, just wanted to put that in there.
And at the meets, we did have quite a few Lippman students who were interested in high jump when I was over there. So they got limited experience. So I hope when track comes around this year that those same ones are trying to improve and getting the limited practice that they can get at the meets.
Okay.
Jeff, I just want to say I commend you for the multiple hats you're wearing, teaching high jump, reffing, doing all of those things. I have a very basic question, which is just kind of the intersection of the school and Parks and Rec with all of these activities. Can you share a little bit about that? What we do versus what they do?
So for most of the sports, well, basketball, baseball, volleyball, we'll use, like for basketball and volleyball, we'll use the gym for practice space, but then we'll play, our home gym is Terra Bay in South City because it's a bigger gym for the games. And then for baseball, like there's not an affiliation with the school. For track and cross country, their PE teacher, Abe, is the main coach, and they have clubs like a track club and cross country club. So they do all their practices with him, and then we help out at the meets as well. So all the games and especially all the track meets, myself and Ricardo are at helping out and helping coordinate the events. So it's a collaboration with the school, and for most of the sports outside of track and cross country, it's either us coaching or volunteer parents, but using the gym space.
Got it. Thank you.
Just want to add to that a little bit. Abe, the PE teacher for Lippman, helps us a lot too. So if he knows that we have a sport coming up, he'll run that in the curriculum, and then we'll get more attention and more kids that want to join that sport since they're already practicing during the school day. So it's pretty cool.
I also have a question on, I know you mentioned like Millbrae, South San Francisco. Does Brisbane, I guess, like with the sports, do you also collaborate with Daly City? Because I know like we have a connection, right, with the high school, and our kids go to that public high school. So I just wanted to see, like, is there any, or for facilities use, or?
At this time, no. We're part of a league. It's the NCRL. It's the North County Recreation League, and it's with Brisbane, South San Francisco, San Bruno, Millbrae, Burlingame, and so
San Bruno.
I don't know personally what Daly City does for their youth sports, or if they do them all in house. But at this time, we don't compete with them.
Daly City does everything in-house and with the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of have a different schedule than we do. Pacifica used to be in our league, but they also got taken over by Boys and Girls Club.
Got it. I just thought there was like a branch of, like, since we have like public school as our Daly City schools or Pacifica, that there would be like a branch of like, transition to their facilities or something. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else have?
Great demonstration of figure out ability. So I'm sure you made the right call, Ump.
Oh, thank you.
You have a great job.
Thank you.
And Jeff, just one more quick question. I know we said we're gonna like experiment with signups for pickleball courts. How has that been going?
You want me to take this one?
Yeah, I don't know too much, so I would defer to over here.
Yeah, so we've been collaborating with a company called Rec, and they have launched their platform in San Francisco and several other communities throughout the state of California, and actually nationwide, to where residents can reserve a court online for either tennis or pickleball. So we've been kind of working on the back end, setting up the system for our facility for Mission Blue only. And then also there's a network of instructors that could utilize the courts if people wanted to sign up for instructional lessons, or if we wanted to run tournaments or leagues, we would have the capacity to do that. So Nicole and I have been talking with them. They will have a booth at Day in the Park to kind of create awareness within the community. We're kind of planning a fun little launch event that will take place at the Mission Blue Courts. But you should see promotional materials coming out shortly. It will be it's in the activity guide. It will also be in the upcoming Blast and Star. So we're looking forward to a launch in early October.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Joe. Bye.
All right. So now we're on old business, and we have concerts in the park debrief. Trudy, I think that's us.
Yeah,
and staff.
We'll let you go first.
Okay, so I would just say I thought concerts in the park were great this year. I attended most of them, and they were really fun. I thought the band selection was outstanding. I loved the local band. I'm so sorry you weren't there, Trudy. I know you were trying to be there. And one of the concerts was really, really cold. And we still had people out there for that. So I would just say kudos to everyone involved and for all the work that goes into those. I'm curious about feedback that people have received from people on timing. I know we're experimenting with doing some at night and some in the day. Trudy, I'll pass it over to you to kind of give anything you want to share.
all right. When I was at the last concert, suddenly everybody knew who I was. Really, I was going, hi, you're on the committee. This is what I want to see. And then had the opportunity to dance a little bit, which was fun. I really loved the last band we had. They were terrific. Then I had asked a gal to come with me. We don't really know each other all that well, but what the heck? Because she loves music. And so she goes, do you want to dance? I said, of course. We get up and dance. And then Camille and I dance. We always have to dance together. Camille Salmon, goofy girl. Anyway, then we started walking around. I found this group in back, and they had a spread that you wouldn't believe. I was like, did you guys have this catered? No, we put it together ourselves. They don't even live in Brisbane. They didn't know the band, but they come for the concerts in the afternoon. They just really like it. So they put together so much food that, you know, we kept hanging around. Finally, they offered us something. But it was really neat just to talk to everybody. And then I made the mistake of stopping somewhere, both of us, for a drink afterwards, and got even more people that suddenly knew who I was. Oh, you've got to hear this. I have this. I said, they got to be local. You know, that's our thing. It's got to be local. But there was just a lot of enthusiasm. And of course, you know, oh, we need more concerts and we need this and we need that. And I said, you know, you got to remember, we're in San Mateo County. Everybody's got their own schedule of concerts. You can't just go on forever. You know, but just a good reaction that one day, whereas one of the night ones, it was totally different. People, maybe it's because they were so cold. Everybody was just like, not really doing any talking too much or anything, you know. It was cold. And Frank even showed up that day when I was sitting there. I couldn't believe I turned around like, Frank, on top of everybody else. But just got a lot of good feedback. People really like music in Brisbane. They really do. I did get a suggestion of maybe next year, I know Day in the Park is already done for this year as far as planning, but to have different types of music, like some Latin music, Indian music. I love sitars, so totally into that, but have music all day long, just a couple hours of different groups. And they went, interesting. Hadn't thought about that before, but a lot of good feedback that I got, you know, because everybody recognized me suddenly.
That's awesome. Good. And Commissioner Ocampo, anything from your end?
I didn't hear anything. I wasn't able to attend this summer, but nothing negative. So no news is good news, I think.
Good.
Anyone else?
I feel like in my talking about town regarding the concerts in the park, people fall into one or two camps. They're like, either it needs to be Friday night or it needs to be on Sundays. I think keeping the blend is just such a beautiful way to do this. And I really like the Sunday where the dragonflies were out. That was absolutely magical. So if you can make that happen again, that'd be great.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, Frank, I heard the same thing. It seems like the blend is the answer. Yeah, because people like one or the other.
I just heard more. Can we keep it going all year?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, you're going to be busy.
I mean, I think we'd all love to. Financially, though, there's an issue, and that's one thing I wanted to get staff kind of to weigh in on. I know we were trying to rent the cabanas, and you know, we looked to the community for support. How did we do financially?
You guys are welcome to jump in since you're the leads on concerts, but we definitely didn't do as well with donations and sponsorships this year as we have in years past. I think it's been pretty consistent the past few years that we've hovered around the $14,000 mark for sponsorships and donations. And this year we ended around $9,000. So the money that we collect for sponsorships and donations is what funds the bands for the following year, which means this next year we will have less money to finance bands. So I think that's an important distinction for you to have as you segue into next year and start planning for the next concert series.
And was that just mainly from sponsorship?
Yes.
Okay.
Who
Commissioner Greenlee?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. My question is we had more concessions this year, didn't we? And do any of the concessions make any money for the concerts in the park or no?
We did. We had a food truck and we had James Healy that was out there. We had Julie's Deli that was out there a few times. We don't profit from them. It's a benefit that's added to the attendees of the event. We don't charge them anything to be there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I was just trying to figure out ways maybe we could do a concession or something to raise money. I know that probably would be a drop in the bucket. We'll just have, you know, I really didn't know, and this is dumb on my part, I didn't know that the money that was raised in sponsorships pays for the bands. That really needs to be focused on so that we can advertise, hey, if you want good bands, then you need to sponsor this event. And I'm sure people would jump in. Maybe they just think the sponsors are doing it for advertising purposes rather than, you know, funding the event. So good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Good to highlight.
And our sponsorship letter does indicate that any monies collected goes to directly to the cost of the bands, that it supports the cost of the bands.
And who does that fundraising? Like, is that something that, like, how do we?
Staff does.
You guys, okay.
We also always welcome the support of the commission in canvassing businesses and soliciting businesses that are in town. I know Jeff and Nicole did some door-to-door to some of the businesses in Crocker Park and on Visitation and in the village. So they definitely made the rounds this year. I know in talking to Madison in the chamber that it's been hard to solicit sponsorships and donations from businesses in general. I think people are still recovering from the pandemic. And so they're maybe just generally less likely to give money to something like that. But it will impact the series for next year.
Commissioner Greenlee.
Yeah, I just think that if all these people who love this event so much knew that sponsoring even small, you know, even $100, you know, for a family or something to support this whole huge event for our community, that we could get more individuals involved. I think it just needs to be approached a little differently, not just on the businesses, but on our community. So next year, I'd like to revisit this and focus more on getting the word out through social media and actually what these sponsors do and how it affects the event. I mean, is it too late for people to say, "Hey, I'll sponsor next year's bands" if they want to throw some money at it this year?
It's never too late. We will take their money.
I was thinking the same thing, Commissioner Greenlee. I think that when people see it, myself included, when you see sponsorship, it seems like a business thing. But if we kind of reframe it, individual contributors to concerts in the park, that could be a push we do before year end. Can we make it, can it be a tax write-off for individuals? It is. So I think as people look to end the year and maybe do their giving, maybe we look at doing something. Give the gift of music to the community.
Yeah.
It was surprising to me to hear that too, Lisa. I think it'd be good to have a booth at the event where we're saying, hey, $1, $5 donations go to next year's bands. At least have some presence there. Just for individuals that come and just say, I want to give a tip, I want to help, and it'll go towards next year's bands. I think that would be fun.
I mean,
I'll be there.
On the last concert, I think I was in the Lions Club hot dog stand or something, and somebody there was like, you know what, let's just go see what money we can collect. And they the Lions people went around, and I'm not being critical, I'm just, like, they did this successfully, went around with a basket, and that said donations, and they just went from one side of the park to the other to everyone that was sitting there on blankets and chairs, and collected quite a bit of money. I don't know how much, I never asked. So it felt like church.
You actually,
Renee, to your point, people are there, they're in the moment, there's an emotional connection at that time. They may have had a glass of wine or two. And it's a great time to make the ask is when it's actually in progress. So maybe that's part of what this commission's responsibility needs to be at the next concert series is we put on our name tags and we're just wandering around soliciting donations.
I agree.
Good idea. That's a good idea.
you may have also seen at some of our concerts, some of our part-time staff that were working the booth, and we actually had some extra blankets that we were needing to get rid of that were purchased in prior years. That was doing that kind of similar model. It was just a blanket at that point, but there was definitely interest from the community. So again, something great to consider. And then additionally, to the point of the lower cost as a contribution, that was something that came up in the commission meeting or in our subcommittee meeting previously, and we did make a more achievable, I think it was like $150 versus the $500, and we did get a couple, a few more folks of that smaller denomination. So we hear your feedback and always looking to improve, but just know we have also taken some of your feedback previously, but I think we can also look at doing it a different way as well.
Yeah, and I just think, I guess maybe we want to help. Yeah, don't forget us. Like we don't, this was not meant to be a criticism of what you did. It was that I think maybe we all feel like we should have done something more.
Nicole,
So
you guys did a great job.
just
This is not a
engage us,
criticism.
yeah.
We just,
Yeah.
we're saying as a commission, we can do more.
Yeah.
So I think that's something for us to think about. My takeaways from this is, one, let's do a year-end push, the star, and just give people an opportunity. And really at that level, you're talking $20, $50, $100, right, for next year's concerts in the park. And then we're, as a commission, as part of the committee for next year, look at how the commissioners can be there and raise money at the actual events.
One further idea, may I?
Yeah.
I think Nicole's smiling, so maybe you're the one I had this conversation with. Tell me why we couldn't do a Park and Rec commissioner cabana for raffle. Meaning we'll take all Natalie Ocampos patio furniture. We'll put it in Tom's SUV. And we'll set up our own cabana so staff is not troubled. and maybe we can raffle it off or something. I mean, we could do anything. There's themes upon themes here.
Yeah.
I'm in. You can have my indoor furniture too.
Or maybe, and then I guess also with the fundraising too, I know like we start, like, when do we usually start that? Like the end of December, January? Is that enough time?
February.
Like where we can just do a year in advance for like, all hands, all town, where, there's not a minimum donation. It's basically like, we just want to count heads and making sure like each household is like participating with the donation, right? Since it's a community event.
Yeah, so the fundraising plan typically goes to the city council in the early part of the year in January, and then we start pushing out our fundraising efforts in early February.
So we should put that back on the calendar then, just to keep that on top of our minds, right, for January, and to find some way to market it.
That sounds great. Anything more on concerts in the park before we move to new business? All right, new business, the city council liaison meeting summary. Trudy and I were in attendance. We met with Councilwoman Cunningham and Councilwoman Davis, not to be confused with this Commissioner Davis. It was a great meeting. We really used the time to talk a lot about our idea for a nonprofit arm of Parks and Rec, or a Friends of, and to get their feedback on that. They were, in general, I would say, supportive, liked the idea. And actually, the city manager, Jeremy, offered to help us with that. So that was great. They gave their guidance, I think, and in general approval of that. And we talked a little bit about some of the projects that we were most interested in. I think one piece of advice was, and I think this is from Jeremy, like really pick something that is going to be very meaningful to people and is accessible from the start. We shared some of our research we had done as a commission. They were very complimentary of that. And that was one of the main items that we talked about. We also talked about the Volunteer of the Year, which we are sworn to secrecy. We will not say anything, no matter how much you bribe us. It's not going to happen. Our lips are sealed. And anything else to add, Commissioner Davis?
No, you did an excellent job. You were wonderful.
Awesome.
I think that's great you're doing that. That's a great idea. I'm glad. We came up with that together as a group, didn't we?
We did. It's
I'm really
us.
proud of us.
Yes, we did. So, and I do think there was a little talk about next steps for that too. And I think that's something we have to really decide and agendize and talk about how we get this off the ground. And as a follow-up, I am meeting with Jeremy, and we probably need an ad hoc committee on this.
I literally was just going to ask that. If we need a subcommittee.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea so that we don't lose momentum.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Okay. I see Renee,
Renee?
Frank,
Oh, we
You're
have
in.
the subcommittee. It's the whole commission.
Julie.
I
Julie?
mean, maybe this does need to be the whole commission.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It,
I mean,
it
it's
can
something
be
we're all passionate about.
Yeah, I definitely think it's part of a larger conversation with the full commission, but if you want to identify a few people that are willing to kind of be the boots on the ground, that are going to have conversations with Jeremy or kind of lay the foundation for next steps in the process, then we can keep this item on our agenda every month and then have a more robust conversation about next steps and process.
So I think that's a great way to go. So who wants to kind of be the conversation with Jeremy, bring next steps back to this commission? Tom?
Yeah, I'd be
Me
happy
too.
to. I've talked to a number of people, and who's the new superintendent? I spoke with her for an hour.
All right,
About
let's
things.
do Commissioner Sewell and Commissioner Kern. And
Renee
Finally, we're
raised her hand
together.
too.
Hey,
Finally.
Commissioner Comerford, let's do
Okay.
those three.
Okay.
Sorry. Renee. I tend to look this way, not this way. All right, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Next, we are on reports. I will say I have a report as the chairperson. Frank, you can probably add to this, but when we were in the park for Police Night Out, there was a lot of discussion about the seniors. And we just met with several seniors who were giving us some ideas on some enhancements they would like to see. And it just made me recognize that I am part of that senior commission, I believe. Yes, as is Frank, and we haven't met for a while. So I would like to convene and talk about some of those recommendations.
Great, we can schedule that when we get to the subcommittee, setting subcommittee meetings.
I'm on there too.
Excellent. And that seems like our next subcommittee reports. We have the Public Art Advisory Committee meetings, many of them.
I don't think I could speak to the 729. Can you, Lisa?
729.
I wasn't there.
Um,
But I do, I can speak to the last meeting.
Yeah, I can speak to the last meeting. I mean, staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that meeting was really short because we were waiting on the survey results and the report from the 9 group that we've hired to come up with our arts. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on what you call it. The arts written statement of our city.
Yep.
Master plan?
That's correct.
Yes, that's the master plan. There you go. Anyways, we were working on that. Is that what I remember, staff?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So the real action happened on August 26th, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Tom, why don't you recap and I'll recap. Go ahead.
Our budget is $2.5 million. That's the good news. We got the Alvarado San Benito Public Stairway Project was approved by City Council, I believe, and Noreen, I have a swear word here, kicked something, and got the RFP out, and it's out right now. How's that going?
Great. We published it on Friday, so now I'm deep into soliciting artists to provide proposals. The deadline to submit is October 4th. So hopefully we can muster up a lot of interest from artists all over the nation and locally as well, so that we have ample proposals to review and consider as part of the project.
The turnout was good?
We'll see.
Okay, all right. And then 9 Arts shared their survey results. Can those survey results be shared to this group? Because I think it was great.
It was great. I agree. We've published them online.
Okay.
So they're available on the city website. I'm happy to send out the link directly to all of you. And then Jeremy did ask that we kind of just provide a very brief high-level overview of the survey results to City Council. So that's going to take place on October 3rd. I will provide them with a consolidated version of that presentation so that they remain informed about the process.
So the main takeaway I grabbed from the report was unexpected art, integrated and diverse. And then the mission, they wrote up a mission, which I thought was great. The mission for public art in the city of Brisbane is to support the community, identity, unity, and pride through the diverse artwork that grabs attention and distinguishes a unique sense of place. And I think we're going to see a first draft of the master plan on early November. And that's what I remember. Any follow-ups?
Yeah, I can add on to that the survey was fascinating. They were very happy with how the survey was written, with how the city responded. The survey results and implications. They had lots of outreach. They had 2 visioning workshops. They had meeting with Public Works. They had outreach in several events in the community. They had 192 responses. Most lived in Brisbane, and it just said more art, celebrate and promote what we have. Anyways, I'm just really happy that people were engaged in the survey, because that's what everything hinges on, as far as, you know, we're trying to be community led on this process, and as transparent as possible, and getting this document finished and then starting to work on some of the projects that we've already identified is gonna happen. And I see it happening really soon. So, and it'll happen in an orderly, conscious, public way that I think we'll all be really proud of.
Wow, that's exciting. Thank you.
This is really exciting stuff, and I just want to give kudos to all involved. I nerd out a little bit when it comes to surveys. I did spend a little bit of time in my career in market research, and this was the best survey I have ever taken in my life. It caused me to pause numerous times and really think through the response I was providing. So I am super excited to see those results.
They're coming your way.
Excellent. And next we will go to setting subcommittee meetings.
Okay, so I think there's a desire to set a time to convene the senior subcommittee.
Yes.
And yeah, and that includes Trudy and Frank and Julie.
I have a request with that. I wonder if we could also, or add a meeting onto one of the senior lunches.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be great, because I know those are a great way to meet people, talk to people, get ideas.
Yep.
I like it. So you're proposing we go to the senior lunch and then like have the meeting afterwards, or
Yeah,
vice
that's what I
versa?
was thinking.
Okay.
Trying to get as many free lunches as possible.
Age friendly, yeah. Okay, so I think the most well-attended lunches with the senior club group are the fourth Wednesday of the month, when Ricardo and Jeff are out there barbecuing for everybody. So that would be a good one to have you attend, and then you could engage with the seniors, and then we could have a follow-up meeting immediately afterwards. Does that work?
That sounds great.
Yeah,
That sounds perfect. So we're talking September 25th?
that is the next one, yeah.
Okay.
And what time is that? Noon?
Yeah.
Like 11, I'd say like 11:30 if you want to mingle with them before food is served.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Any other committees that need to meet, or subcommittees rather?
I think Festival of Lights could probably meet.
And then do we have to also have a Derby day in the park?
Yeah, I would say day in the park. Don't we need one more day in the park meeting?
I don't know.
The guys just left. I'm uncertain.
I mean, I know that most of the planning is already set, but if you want to schedule a meeting, we could, just for final details and logistics. That could be good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Just fine. It doesn't have to be long.
Yeah.
And then the other meeting is a Festival of Lights subcommittee meeting, which we are going to be working with JoJo and Aaron Becker. And so they did provide a couple of dates next week that worked for them, if by chance the subcommittee was available during those timeframes. So we have Monday the 16th, Tuesday the 17th, or Thursday the 19th in the later afternoon. So anytime after 3:30.
I'm available on the 19th.
Okay.
17th would work for me.
Wouldn't for me, I'll be on a plane.
Oh, okay. When are you on a plane?
17th till the 24th.
So 16th, they said.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be Monday, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Maybe
that
Tuesday.
Monday.
What time on Monday? Would that be like a 4 or 3?
Yeah, they just said anytime after 3:30.
I can do the 16th.
I could do a 3:30.
I can do a 3:30.
I can do a 3:30.
All right, so either 3:30 or 4, I'll double check with them and we can report back.
That's on what day?
The 16th.
All right.
Okay, so Derby Day in the Park is the only other one, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you want to throw out some days or
Lisa,
times?
did you want to throw out a date for next week?
Could you just, I don't actually have my calendar. Well, let me see. I do have my calendar. I just have to pull it up here.
Would we be able to do like a Zoom call, like a virtual, or does this have to be live?
No, we could do virtual. I'm good with that.
Doesn't the majority have to be in person still?
I don't know.
A majority of the subcommittee still has to be in
Oh,
person.
got it. Okay.
So it can't be exclusively virtual.
I guess we'll get the dates from them and then we'll just give us options. We'll look
Okay.
out for the email.
Okay, we could follow up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm available next week or the week after.
That would be.
Okay, we'll send out an email.
Okay.
Moving on. Do we have any commissioner reports? Nope. How about staff reports?
You know it.
It's been a while. Hello, everyone. Classes and programs report. So if you are on our website or you saw on our social media, our fall activity guide is out. I did want to call to your attention, there was a recommendation for an adult fitness calendar that you could look at to see at a glance what's going on in the community. And so that was included. So if you haven't seen that, do take a look. Summer quick recap. We had about 80 kids per week in our camps with 750 enrollments in swim lessons. So busy summer, including our Dink and Dunk camp that was offered newly this summer. Our fall after school program has started and we have 120 enrolled in that program. We do have still about I want to say, don't quote me, maybe 12 to 15 that are on the wait list, but it was one that previously we would have 40 plus. And so we are making efforts to accommodate more. There is a new principal at BES, Sean Higgins, and he has been wonderful and collaborative, just like Ms. Storer was as well. So it's been lovely to be able to kind of collaborate alongside him. Hydrant restoration event occurred, and we had, I'll say we're still kind of wrapping up. There's a few hydrants that are wrapping up towards the end of this month, but about 20 restored or newly designed hydrants. So Sarah is actually working on a mapping system to be able where you could then click on a specific hydrant and it'll show you exactly where it's located. So that is being worked on and it's a pretty cool feature. So more to come there so you can see all of the amazing hydrants in town. And our registration is open for Thanksgiving and winter break camps. So we're always encouraging parents to sign up for that. Our youth advisory committee had their first meeting and we had 27 youth advisory committee members.
They're taking
Amazing.
over.
So their first meeting was scheduled at the Sunrise Room and there was some work with the newly installed blinds, which we can talk more about that later, but they actually moved to the gazebo to conduct their start of their meeting. And it was just so beautiful to look over and see how many of those like teens and middle schoolers were there, so engaged. You may recall Sebastian. He's presented here frequently with the ACT previously. He is the president. Orion is their vice president, and then secretary is Charlotte. So they are being led by some wonderful teens, as well as with Sarah's encouragement as well. It's sure to be a wonderful year ahead for them. So just to wrap up some upcoming events, Coastal Cleanup and Regatta is occurring on September 21st. There's a senior trip to Sausalito on the 24th. Of course, Day in the Park in Derby is October 5th. We have a parents' night out this Saturday as well as October 9th. And I do want to circle back to next week. There is a art reception for Kevin Fryer's artwork from 4 to 6 p.m. I don't have that specific date, so I can circle back to that. And what else? We have a derby build this weekend from 10 to 12 p.m. Spooky Splash is taking place of the underwater pumpkin patch. We're doing it a little bit differently, although people love the pumpkin patch. The Lions is hosting their pumpkin patch that same day. So in an effort to not duplicate offerings, if people want to get their pumpkin from the Lions Club pumpkin patch and bring it up to the pool, we're doing a Spooky Splash. So it's still a spooky Halloween theme, and we'll have pumpkins on site, just not as many as we've had previously. Of course, the ever popular Halloween dog costume contest is coming back on the 28th. And I did want to make note that our Festival of Lights event that we are going to be meeting on has been moved to December 8th, and that is to take into accommodation that the first was Thanksgiving weekend, and that
Oh my.
is probably not our best solution. So when that happened previously, we did move the date. So although it's usually that first Sunday, we're pivoting to the 8th. So with that, I think the last thing I was going to mention is that Senior Yak Tech Help has restarted. It took a pause for the summer. And while we had previously done it every Wednesday, which we will for the 1st September, it will be select Wednesdays after September, just given all of the new things that the Youth Advisory Committee will be working on. So we will have those dates at the Sunrise Room, as well as we do have a printout version of that activity guide in the Sunrise Room currently in a larger format for those to see some of the more age-friendly options that we have going on in the community.
Is that all?
That is all.
Amazing. I love just the swim lesson number alone is amazing, but all of the support for families in Brisbane is just awesome.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
That mapping project could not be more Sarah. It's perfect.
All right. Anything else before we go to any written communications?
None tonight.
All right. Well, I would like to close. I suggest that we all close in remembrance of the victims of 9/11. And with that, we will adjourn. It is 7:44 p.m. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.